The Isles of Greece, the Isles of Greece, where burning Sappho loved and sung, where grew the arts of war and peace, where Delos rose and Phoebus sprung. Eternal summer gilds them yet, but all except their sun is set. 18,000 miles, one ocean, 15 seas, 14 countries, and hundreds of experiences and adventures. We're Jackie and Wayne, and we're sailing CathayOz all around the world. Santorini! Looking from the top of this ring of islands, it's easy to see that this was once a volcano whose caldera has collapsed. Close to the inner coast, it's one long 1,000-foot-high ridge that stretches from north to south. The inhabitants of Santorini, let's not get into its other names, live in a series of villages perched along the top of the ridge, or at least they did. Santorini is impossibly beautiful, so of course it's been discovered. In fact, 2 million people discover this paradise each year, so the actual population of 15,500 people are rather busy becoming rich by letting out their charming blue and white stucco residences to an endless supply of renters eager for a cement niche on the cliff. So it's anyone's guess where they actually live now. This place bubbles. There is movement everywhere. 4 full-size cruise ships come into the harbour at once, and each disgorges over 3,000 new discoverers who all need water and land-borne transport in their breathless single-day scurry to see everything the island has to see. These transients du jour compete with 30 ferries which dock each day, bringing in new masses aching to have their week in this paradise on earth. The island's scant beaches become like the human equivalent of seabird nesting sites, as every square centimetre of the narrow beaches, black with decaying lava and decomposing seaweed, is claimed by shiny, newly oiled bodies clad in the meagre leftovers of colourful balls of string. Fleets, nay armadas of sightseeing boats, pour out from the island's main marina twice each day, all bound for the same beaches in the morning and the same view spot in the evening to witness a spectacular sunset over the caldera. And continuing with our theme from the last video on sailing the Greek islands, this is one place where the reviews on Navly should be taken lightly. Contrary to opinion there is a perfectly adequate anchorage on the south of the main island at Achilles. This one is well protected from the Meltemi and the depth is moderate. Thumbs up here.
Where to next? We could go south to Crete, but then we will run out of time on our Schengen clock trying to get back north against Meltemi. The only real option is to go north now. We will explore some islands on the way north and then head west to the Greek mainland, and then through the Corinth Canal to the Aegean Sea.
The first thing to do is to dodge the cruise ships anchored at Santorini and then head off looking for the less busy islands of Greece. Just up the road is little Sikonos. Not much room to anchor, but a gorgeous little bay.
There's not much room, so a quick anchor check, which leads to a general swim in the warm Mediterranean. The water is always clear, warm, and no sharks.
We check our boat underneath. This is lots of barnacles. It looks like in Hancock they did a bad job.
Either that or that's the wrong sort of primer for this environment.
Yeah, I don't think he's good enough. So, the Montenegro, we're going to stay a couple of months. I think it's the right time. We can fix the problem.
the boat, which tends to dampen any yawing. Connect it with a snap hook onto the chain. Chain's weight holds it down. The centre line is just to hold the snap hook on in case things go slack. We stopped in at Naxos for a couple of days. It has a nice waterfront area with lots of restaurants and shops, but not much else to attract the passing yachts. And apart from the day boats that drop in and out, we're almost alone in the anchorage. There is a town marina, but they never responded to our calls and messages, so we didn't go. It does have a bit of a reputation for ferry wash damaging boats, and this happens a lot in the town marinas in the Cyclades.
A few miles from Naxos is Paros, a really nice anchorage, and the town is very interesting. I spent a lot of time wandering around the old town, which is really beautiful. There is also an interesting Orthodox church. I really like looking into the churches. This one has a lot of educational material explaining the difference between the Orthodox Church and the Catholic Church. This was a nice touch. It was our anniversary when we were in Paris. We have a tradition of having the same meal for our anniversary every year, no matter where we are. The captain is the cook, and he will do something different with the ingredients each time. We also have a bottle of wine for each course, so it can be a big night.
We stopped in Mykonos, but only to rest at anchor. Just near us was this sad sight of a ketch that had sunk at its mooring. I don't know the story, but I hate to see boats this way.
From Mykonos, we had a short but awful trip against the 30 north winds to Tinos. A really tough day for us.
If you decide to sail the Greek islands one day, you'll find lots of places like Santorini. Staggeringly beautiful, but uncomfortably crowded and no longer authentic. You'll also find gems like Paros and here in Tinos. Here for around €10 per day you can moor your boat right in the middle of town. Ferry wash is an issue, but not as bad as in some places. The town is still quite touristy, but it has a sense of fun, and there's more of a sense of local people actually going about their lives. Hire a car and get into the countryside, and there are really pretty villages in the hills and on the water.
It was so nice to spend time seeing the island and its places. I was so happy here. Our autopilot failed completely on that rough passage to Mykonos, so we will have to hand steer until we can get past to fix it.
Our last island before we head to Athens is Syros. This is a place that you should visit in the Greek islands. There's lots of nice beaches and villages with guest houses and other places to stay. We chose to anchor in a bay in the south and took the 40-minute bus ride to the main town of Hermopoli. It's quite large and has a really pretty architecture. The waterfront is a large curving esplanade with lots and lots of colour and movement. This is a place where you can have a nice holiday, relaxing on the beach, but also exploring the town and eating in a huge range of restaurants. The Greek islands are a lot of fun. The weather is perfect almost all the time, even when the Meltemi is blowing. The water is safe and warm. As Australians, we were shocked to see people swimming hundreds of metres from shore at sunset. You would never do this in Australia because this is feeding time for sharks. The Meltemi provides a lot of challenges, and these can shape your sailing experience here. We finally blew our autopilot on a rough passage, and that's a problem for us. After a lot of diagnosis, it came down to a broken part inside the hydraulic pump. We will be able to get a replacement pump at a chandler near Athens, so that's where we've got to go to next. If you want to rent a bareboat and charter here, the islands and anchorages are mostly boat friendly. You will have a lot of company, however. There are charter boats everywhere, and their skippers range a good deal in skills and attitude. Some anchorage is so packed it's more like dodgem cars. Overall though, the Aegean's fun, and at times it is breathtakingly beautiful. It's also very crowded and it's mostly adapted to tourism. That detracts from authenticity, and you certainly won't have the wonderful discoveries that can be still made in Indonesia, for example. But in the end, for a bit of fun and frolic, it's pretty hard to beat. We say goodbye to the Aegean now as we head to Athens and then on to the Ionian Sea.
Next time, we go to Athens for a technical stop, and then we plan to go through the Corinth Canal to the Ionian Sea. Will that be different from the Aegean? I wonder. One thing is sure, we will see more things that we have never seen as we sail CathayOz around the world.